this class tonight, Speak Up Your Fear of Speaking Out. I really love the ad that Paul made for this. I don't know if you guys are on any of my social media accounts, but I thought that this was a really perfect description because the ad said, remaining silent out of fear has more adverse effects than speaking your mind even does. Learn how keeping it bottled up negatively affects your prosperity. And I love that. We're absolutely getting into that. But I would also like to get feedback from you guys on specific areas of concern. So let's talk about, okay, why it's happening. I broke this down just to keep it simple into 3 categories. And the most common reasons that I have seen people are afraid to speak out is number 1, a victimhood mentality. Victimhood mentality meaning a martyrdom mentality as well. I would pool both of those together. These are those of you who feel that you need, for some reason, to overgive. It is very possible that you grew up in a home with alcoholic parents, drug addiction, poverty, or you had an overwhelming sense of needing to caretake for those that really should have been caretaking for you. Now, whether they did this intentionally or unintentionally, it has the same type of effect. You could always see yourself as sort of down on your luck. You may always see yourself as the martyr, the one who has to cross healthy boundaries into toxic space and overgive to people. Now, we start typically with family or friends, but it quickly becomes something that you do all the time and with everything. And so you will feel that you are responsible to stay at a job that's toxic for you, or in some type of business partnership where you're not getting your fair cut. Maybe you don't have contracts when you approach your clients. You know, there are all kinds of ways that we seem to become more and more clouded over the years where we're cutting ourselves short. And one of the areas that you really need to examine if you are one of these people is your boundary line, and what is a healthy boundary line. We also have in with this group of people the I don't want to rock the boat people. And it's like you feel that you should just be accepting whatever crumbs fall on the floor for you to get. Okay, saying I don't want to rock the boat is like saying it's okay, don't worry about me, I'll take the bare minimum. And you guys also tend to be pretty nasty sometimes. This leads to passive-aggressive attitudes against others because eventually all that bottling up has got to come out somewhere. You may also have emotional eating habits, porn addictions, other kinds of addictions, and you would be prone to that because you're not having a healthy outlet. You're not essentially speaking your voice. It is not uncommon for this group, but really any group, to have something called a closed throat chakra. A closed throat chakra is when you have not been speaking your piece, speaking your truth, or telling others what it is that you are worthy of having or whatever it is that you're demanding. Now, we have a closed throat chakra for 2 main reasons. Number 1, you aren't saying it. Number 2, you did say it and it was rejected. It was disrespected. It wasn't received. And for whatever reasons, you didn't go back and you didn't fix that problem. You didn't set proper boundaries or give an ultimatum. You were just like, okay, well, I guess I did my best. Isn't that how it always goes? And you just keep moving along with your life. You can't do that. Now, whatever builds up as a closed throat chakra is, yes, we're talking energetically at first, but it becomes a mental and emotional drain that will eventually, this is a guarantee, and I can't prescribe or diagnose, it will eventually turn into actual physical manifestations like thyroid issues, swollen glands, chronic allergies, you name it, you've got it from here to here typically, okay? So let's clear that out. A lot of people will also say in that category, that victimhood mentality, martyrdom categories, they will also say things like, well, I'm just too nice. I'm just too nice. Nobody's that sweet. You're self-sacrificing because you're coming from a place of ego. And by ego, I mean fear and manipulation and control. So by not going with the flow, you're actually coming from a negative, toxic, egotistical place. Because the opposite of fear is faith and love. And part of giving from a place of love is loving yourself. So it's not that you're too nice, okay? It's actually that you're not being kind enough to your own self. Now we have category number 2. Okay, maybe you are afraid to succeed. A lot of people feel that if they succeed, they are going to become a target of hatred. We have 2 other free mini classes up on the playlist that would be good for you if you're in this category. And that is Your Fear of Leveling Up. And the other one is called Fighting the Dark. Because it is true that every time you move up a new level, there is a new devil. And we have the patriarchy. We have all of these men, and I'm not just talking the white patriarchy. I'm talking now everyone who follows the patriarchy, male, female, any color, hippopotamus, I don't care what you are. If you follow it and you feed it, you may also be one of those people that tries to keep certain people down. Okay, that's what the patriarchy is. And so if you're a female watching this, you may have heard about nasty women or bitches. You're a bitch if you take and claim what is rightfully yours. Well, be a bitch. It is time to step up. And there's a lot of fear associated with that because the attack starts, especially if you're a female, so quickly. Okay, now we see this for the LGBTQ community. Also, we see this for the Black people. We see this for minorities. Yes, we see this everywhere. What happens when you step out, though, especially if you're a female, is you get harassed by the patriarchy. And one of the most common things, somebody just did this to me the other day. I posted something. I'm just living my life. I'm not attacking anyone. And some guy got on there and said, called me fat. And maybe I am, okay, but that was super uncalled for. I don't know him. I wasn't talking to him. And so we see 2 specific attacks on women, and that is to call a woman ugly or to call her fat. Make her feel unattractive. So what we need to do, whether you're gay, you're trans, you're Black, you're Hispanic, you're a woman, whatever the situation is, to fight the patriarchy, and what is probably at the root of your fear of success is that you need to break down how that's been affecting you from childhood. I'm going to keep going with the example of being a woman and conquering your fear of speaking out. You were probably told when a boy beat you up at the playground at school or pulled your hair or whatever, somebody bullied you, you were probably told, boys will be boys. He probably likes you. That's how boys show you that they like you. So we are trained to be abused from the time we are small. That means be subservient, don't speak up, try to take it as a compliment, and it just crushes your soul. So there are, for many of us, different reasons why we have become afraid of our own success. Yes, there can be other reasons. I mean, maybe your family was the same way and you inherited that, and there needs to be some ancestral healing. It can almost feel like a generational curse. We know from certain psychology research that there is also a tendency to carry a poverty mindset and this issue from being in a poverty-stricken family, or people who, if we were raised by people who maybe lived through the Depression, okay, and things like that. Well, this is just not healthy, all right? And so you need to get to the root of the issue. How did you get that way? Are you afraid of your own success, and why? Okay, attacks are real, granted, but who cares? Bite back, okay? Or ignore it. These are not things that you technically have to absorb just because it's going to happen. Okay, so let's not be brainwashed. Okay, do we have any questions or comments? Should I just keep going on to number 3?
The comments, they're saying this is a great topic.
It is.
You're awesome.
Aw.
And we had a question about closed throat chakras, if you want to touch on that.
Okay, yeah, could you open that too for me? Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Like the Kool-Aid man. He didn't come in. That was just me, I swear.
Darn.
Yeah, I know. Shackleberry Finn. Jill wanted to know, does a closed throat chakra also lead to an increase in asthma-type symptoms?
Oh, yeah. Again, anything from here to here, okay? Even higher, because we're talking lung problems, we're talking throat problems, we're talking sinus issues, and I would even say higher into the head, like, because you're talking sinus, so you're talking headaches, okay? So it's that whole area, anything connected to the throat. What's connected to the throat, talking, we're talking esophageal, we're talking the lungs, most certainly the sinuses, the head. We could even look at that becoming an issue downward, and that's when it's getting really bad. But a lot of people who end up with like acid stomach or esophageal issues, or what's the other thing, GERD, things like that, it could be. I mean, that's when you've really left it for a long time. But we also see, a lot of people who use a certain tone of voice. And this is a big problem among a lot of women. I'm like, are you serious? Do you really talk that way? It makes me sound like a dude. And I'm like, what? Where did that come from? Where did she learn to talk like this? She doesn't even know she's doing it. It is this fragile, meek little sound. And it becomes something that we take on physically to accommodate in whatever ways, and it can't be. We have to let it out. We have to. Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Should I go back to this?
Yes, please.
All right, very good. So we are on number 3. Okay, why is it happening? Where are these fears coming from? Most typically, yes, I want to hear your other ones. No, number 3. You just don't feel that you're ready for it. Okay, we're tired. Let's face it, especially if you're a minority. If you're gay, you're trans, you're a female, you are exhausted before you even wake up in the morning, probably. We have to work 10 times as hard to get half as much. And you just maybe aren't feeling like you're ready to take that battle on that's going to come with it, or you can't sustain it. And so you don't want to speak out for what you want because you're not confident in your ability to handle the longevity that's going to go along with it. And you feel almost like you deserve whatever negativity might come because you asked for it, because you should have just kept your mouth closed, as you've always been told to, or you've been telling yourself to. This can also come when you don't want to owe anybody anything. So if you don't want to owe, if every time you give something to your parents, they hold it over your head, or, your spouse holds it over your head, your boss maybe does the same thing. It's like, okay, I don't want to owe anybody anything. And so I'm just not going to speak up. I'm going to keep this space. You may also have in with this category in a general way. This all comes really down to fear of the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen around the bend. This breaks down to ego again. Ego is fear. Ego is control. Ego is not faith and love. So you just have to let it go. You have to trust that if you are doing your part and taking on your responsibility in your life and in the universe, that the universe will take care of the rest of it. And not enough of us step out in blind faith. And so we don't know that system. All we know is what we control. Okay. Make some sense?
Portia just commented that she got fired from a job for speaking her mind. Mm-hmm. And since being at her new job, 7 years new, she still has the fear to speak her mind.
Ooh. However, I would wonder if your new job is a leveling up from where you were. And I would wonder if the new ambitions that you've had from that time of being fired have helped you to figure out more of your life purpose and what you really want to be doing and who you are and how you want to help other people to get what they rightfully deserve. And I think that even if you have found yourself currently in a bit of a place of stagnancy, because you don't want to. I think that if you were to push through that, you would be able to get access to those rewards. Okay. I am certainly not one to ever hold back on, sorry, Paul. I'm not one to ever hold back on what I believe I'm deserving of having, or what I believe in, or fighting for the underdog, protecting others, speaking out. I have never been able to do that. And I have found that while I do have a lot of attacks from the world around me, the people around me, I really do also have almost like tenfold good luck. And I don't think it's luck. I think it's what I've earned by stepping out in blind faith and being willing to say what I know is true and what is right. And I can guarantee to anybody who does it in any situation, you're going to get back tenfold. Okay. It just, requires that you do it. So let's talk about that. Okay. Let's talk about why you should fight for what it is that you feel is right, why you should speak your mind. Number one, we all came to Earth with a life contract. And within that life contract are deadlines where you need to finish your work. And you will have a responsibility to complete it in this life. But if you don't, it will be added onto your to-do list and you'll have to reincarnate, do this all over again. So when we're talking about fear of being self-actualized, when we're talking about not wanting to speak out, what we're really doing is stalling on something that's going to have to be done anyways. So understand that you came to Earth to do certain things, and that one of these things is going to be to speak your piece or speak your mind and take those risks. And if you don't do it now, you're going to have to do it later. So it's sort of like, just get it out of the way and know that there's a bigger purpose. Know that there's a bigger meaning for it. Okay. Whenever I feel like I'm not sure I should be doing something, or I feel that hesitancy, the first thing I do, because I'm combative by nature, but the first thing that I do is want to just jump and risk it. And then I'll hold back a little bit and I will call in my guides and my ancestors. And I will say, explain to me why I'm feeling hesitancy here. And explain to me why this is something I should risk doing or saying. And if I hear back that this is part of my work, I will not think about it. I will literally put it out of my mind and I will just run my mouth. Okay. And that has worked for me pretty well. Okay. Number two, why should you say it? Because you came here on Earth, to Earth, as a human being having a human experience. And you shouldn't do that fearfully. You should understand that in every opportunity like this that you have, it is a lesson in itself. So instead of seeing it as an obstacle or a block, see it as an opportunity to learn a lesson, pick up on some new skill, bring yourself some healing or advancement, and ultimately be able to help others. You can't stay stagnant. It is also possible that even beyond a life lesson, for many of you, it becomes part of a karmic contract. So if you have a karmic contract, you owe somebody else owes you, there is a karmic cycle that needs to be complete. That is not something that you want to leave behind. And it may rely on you speaking your truth. We need to wrap those up. They're very serious. Okay. We can't avoid these things and we cannot level jump over them. And that's essentially what you're trying to do, is you're hoping to get some kind of promotion in your life, right? You're hoping to have a better relationship. You're hoping to achieve something greater and get what you want, but you're trying to level jump. You're not doing your part of the work, and the universe cannot do it for you. And it's the law. It's never going to change. Number three. Try not to be so self-absorbed in you and your journey, your anxiety with this, your fear. Think of yourself as part of a bigger whole. You are part of a community. You are part of the universe. And because you are here as part of the human race, we need to make sure that you are contributing something back. And for those of you who won't even speak for yourselves right now, you are really not able to help anybody else yet. That's just part of the graduation process. I think of light workers who want to come in for a couple classes and be out there healing the world, but they haven't done any shadow work. They haven't done any character development. You can't even count on them to show up half the time. This is going to require that you practice and heal and learn yourself how to speak up for your truth and what's right, so that you can eventually go out and speak up for others. Or if you don't even have that as a calling in your life, that you could set a good example and shine so that other people see you and say, I could do that too. Or how did you accomplish that? And you say, well, I learned how to speak up for what I believe in. I would also say for any of you who have younger siblings, if you have children, would you really want them cowering? Or would you want them to live by your example? Do it for others if you're not going to do it for yourself. It also helps in the heat of the moment if you're doing it for others, because you literally aren't even thinking of you. Okay, you're removing yourself and you're detaching from your body and you're just doing it to be of service to others. So it's like, I am doing this for Black Lives Matter. I am doing this for the LGBTQ community. I am doing this so my kids can look at me and be like, okay, that was really hard and grueling, but I know that that's what I need to do in my future, should I ever end up in that situation. You also need to be realistic that the root of all evil in this world is pacifism. Don't be that guy. Don't stand idly by. Don't be on the sidelines, not contributing. Okay? Start with you and take it out beyond that. So let's talk about but how. All right. So at this point, you guys may be hearing this, and for those of you that follow me on here, you know my least favorite individual is the one who says, easier said than done, crying face emoji all the time, okay? Easier said than done. Well, you already quit. You know, you're not going to ever get anywhere because you already quit just upon even hearing that some effort needs to be put in. And that is, that's really where I want to say, you know, don't cave, you know, don't be that guy. Don't be a wuss about things. You're going to need to step up. It's going to be hard work. But just to decide that because it's hard, it's not worth doing, or that you're just going to sell out like that and make it worse is really very foolish. Okay, so we need to take a good look at why you have this defeatist talk with yourself and have some self-respect. Okay, so what can we do? We can replace that with an opposite positive attitude. So every time you are inclined to say, well, easier said than done, I'm quitting before I even start, you know, you're going to want to replace that with a different thought that works for you. This is also in your effort to replace that with a better saying and thought. It's going to kick in manifestation, law of attraction, and good karma immediately. The universe responds to this effort, even if it seems small for some of you. And when we say things like easier said than done, we are showing other people that they should also quit, and you get immediate karmic kickback on that. Okay. So for those of you that feel like your whole life is a downward spiral, it may be that attitude right there, because karma is not kind to the weak naysayer who takes others down with them and their negativity. Okay. Number 2, what else can you do? But how? Let's say you have anxiety. Let's say every time you step up to speak up for yourself, you have vision loss, hearing loss, you're sweating, you feel sick, you shake, you literally feel like it's the equivalent of public speaking or going to the dentist or something else that is really hard for the average person. We do have a free mini class coming up called Anxiety that can help you with that. But I want to say that it's really important that you are taking the time beforehand. So before you get into that situation, you want to visualize exactly how you want to see it go. This is another form of manifestation, but it also helps to create that cool, calm, collected feeling when you get there, because you've been feeding more of that. Remember, whatever we feed, we get more of. So if you're feeding the anxiety and the fear, then it's very likely that's what you're going to have a ton of. So visualize the opposite of that. I would also say this. We're going to talk about this more during the anxiety class, but don't let your anxiety push you around. Don't allow for an anxiety attack to make you feel as though you're actually in danger. You basically don't want to try to escape it. Oh, look, my anxiety is here. Shocker. Oh, well, big deal. I'm going to do it anyways. And it's very much like public speaking, which I hate. I mean, who'da thunk, but I have to do it. So you start, and once you start, it does get easier. It's the same thing with anxiety. As you push through it and you move through it, whether it's getting easier or you're just adapting, it doesn't matter. It's easier. Okay, so push. Number 3, I recommend for a lot of you that if you are an overthinker and that's where your problem is, you stop it dead in its tracks. The very first time you start to overthink something that you know has to be done, stop and decide that you are just going to dive in. You want to choose one positive thought about it, like, again, a visualization about you doing it, and allow for nothing else to come into your head. So stop that thought. You may even want to put up pictures, photographs, images, words, sayings, things that can help you to stay focused on that. And I would say that you need to move quickly. If you're an overthinker and there's something you know you need to do, if it's Monday and you know this has to be done, don't wait till Friday. Get in there first thing in the morning and get it out of the way. Send that email now. Do not sit on it, because that will eat away at your positivity real quick. Okay. Number 4, last but not least by any means, okay? You need to build a connection with spirit. You need to give this over to God. Give it over to the universe. Give it to your ancestors, your guides, your angels. And you need to say, look, I'm fearful. Lead me through it. Humans are nothing more than wide open vessels and channels. And if we are giving ourselves over to spirit will literally channel through you and do it for you. And if you're not feeling that, you are feeling like you're having to actively go through the process, they are giving you the strength and they are manipulating the circumstances to work in your favor. So don't go it alone. There's no need to. You were sent with a team of spirits that back you up. Use them. Do we have questions or comments?
Yeah, we have one of each. Kim has said that, one, thank you for this topic. That's all across the board here. Everyone's really loving this one. She says that I'm struggling so much with a really difficult chain of events from when I did stand up for myself. I've been giving myself incredible crap for doing so because of retribution.
I just think that if you have to look back at it, and you have to pick it apart and say, I did this part of it wrong, then if that's valid, then you've taken lessons away from it. And it was still a huge success just because you did it. Okay, so not all growth is rainbows and butterflies. Some of it's really ugly and gruesome and dark. And to have been bold and then you did it and then to back down, remember, you get in the kitchen, they turn up the heat. Remember that there is repercussion. Check out those videos, okay? Your fear of leveling up, fighting the dark. I would also add to this, how to check your ego. That's another free mini class that can help you guys. That's moving from a place of fear. And it is scary to step out and, get a beat down, but it's also an opportunity for you to learn, how can I improve next time? And it's very possible you're looking back at that situation and saying, no, I actually did it right. Well, then all the more reason for you to go ahead and do it again. Then you did it right. You learned how. You've already been through that door. And realistically, the next time you will probably have great, tremendous success. I always find that the biggest blocks and obstacles are put on us right before we have a huge breakthrough in life. So always worth it to go it again. Mm-hmm.
And we have a question from Queen G.
Okay.
Can a closed throat chakra be for not speaking up for others, not just for yourself? For example, people from our cultural background.
Yes. I find that a lot of people are having trouble communicating. I'm like literally choking right now, just even getting your question. Like, I think that if you have a calling to speak up for other people, and we all really do, but some of us have it even more so, especially if, you feel like you were born into a certain culture or what have you, there's suffering there. Yes, it is absolutely a responsibility to do so. And so any area where we're not speaking can create a closed throat chakra. It does not have to be on a personal level, even though that technically would be, because we're all connected. We're all one. We're all brothers and sisters. And so at any time you're not speaking, yes. Mm-hmm.
Very good. Kim said thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And I want to thank Vanessa for becoming a member.
Thank you
very much.
Good?
Yeah.
All right, very good. Thank you, Vanessa. Absolutely, very exciting. Thank you. Anybody who wants to donate, again, that button is there. You can also go to Ivy Rivera, psychicmedium.com. I will see you guys, hopefully some of you, for Psychic Mediumship course. Starts tomorrow. And our next free mini class is what? Did I throw it away?
It's next Tuesday. It is Anxiety, which is the 13th. That's a big one. It's 8 p.m.
8 p.m. for Anxiety, next free mini class. Spirit definitely set it up that way. That'll be beautiful. If this was helping you at all, that will help you even more. Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you, Polly. Thank you, Spirit. Have a good night, everybody.